Hey everyone, this is a demo for statistical compliance on Solana, which is our software for statistically analyzing digital assets and whether or not they might be considered securities. The goal here is to help give clarity to projects, to help them follow the law, and in the event that they need to register with the SEC, to help to identify situations where that might be a good thing to do. So the way that the software works is there are factors that are laid out that would be correlated with an asset being a security or not being a security, and each one of those factors are analyzed just with an ordinal scale using human language, and then the natural language is compressed to produce an output, which is a statistical measurement from 0 to 1 of whether or not an asset would be considered a security. If it's a 1, then it's a 1, then it's not a security, almost certainly not a security. And if it's 0, it's likely to be a security. So our first factor is equity. So in the event that a digital asset represents an equity interest in a company, then it's likely to be a security. So if we say here that the asset has an outstanding response to that equity, that means that the asset is not representing an equity interest in a company. Decentralization is a huge thing too. So one of the important factors of the Howey test is whether or not an asset has a common enterprise. So if there's no common enterprise, then it's likely that the asset is decentralized and not a security. So if it's decentralized, that's a good thing, not a security. Participation. If there's active participation, so one of the things that the Howey test requires is that there's an expectation of profit solely from the efforts of others. If members of the asset or participants and whatever the network is are actively participating in exchange for the asset or to get the asset or with the asset, then it's likely that the asset is not a security. Ultimately, security is about investment contracts. So if a project is going out and saying that they want people to invest in their token or inviting people to invest in their token, then it's most likely going to be a security. Whereas if it's not an investment, if it's not marketed or sold as an investment, then it's more likely that it is not a security. If the asset has utility, that's a good thing. It's less likely to be a security if it has utility, if there's a real use case for the asset, whether it's with an application or on the network. Is there a purpose behind it that helps to not be a security? It helps it to have utility and to not just be about a blanket investment. If it gives a user control, then that's a good thing. So if there's control for the asset, then less likely to be a security. If it offers derivatives, it's more likely to be a security. So there's a tough thing here between decentralization and derivatives. Like, how do you give an asset away without it being a derivative, which is difficult for a lot of projects. But generally, the goal is to not promise profits or to not market the asset in a way that would make people think that all they have to do is buy it, hold it, and that they'll profit. So, derivatives are common features of stocks. If you are offering derivatives, your asset's more likely to be considered a security. Commonality. So commonality goes to like the question of whether or not everybody in the network has sort of a common goal in what they're doing. If there's commonality, then it's less likely that it's more likely, if there's commonality, then there's more likely the asset will be considered security. If there's no commonality, then it's more like Bitcoin or Ethereum, where you have these large networks where people are doing different things, which is similar to decentralization. But once you've provided the response to each of the factors, then you simply just click calculate compliance and it'll give you a score. Here our score is 88% not likely to be a security. So in this situation, it's unlikely that an asset with this type of score would be considered a security. Thanks for watching.